Hey guys, welcome back to dansfarah.com as well as farahrealestate.com. This is where I talk about all kinds of things that can help business owners, investors. I'm a realtor, so if you're interested in buying or selling a property, give me a call, 949-415-6256. I talk about all kinds of things related to business, related to investing. Sometimes it's related to real estate, sometimes it's not. I do book reviews too. I love to read. And I know that my fellow investors and people in the business community out there also love to read. So the last book review I did was The Art of Social Media by Guy Kawasaki's. Today is The Freaks Shall Inherit the Earth by Chris Brogan. And this book is really meant for beginners. Okay, so someone who maybe is thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, and maybe someone who's really thinking about monetizing their lifestyle or what they're passionate about, but haven't got a clue where to start. So I wish I would have read this book when I first started getting that entrepreneurial spirit, or got bit by that entrepreneurial bug back in probably 2005. With that being said, I did read this in 2015. It is a fast, easy read. If you're looking for actionable content, you can either find a whole lot of it. So if you're a brand new entrepreneur, you'll probably find like tons of this information helpful. But if you're someone who's established, like myself, I've been blogging since 2010. It's now 2015. I've been an entrepreneur since 2005. A lot of the stuff is stuff that I already knew, but in any book, you can always learn something from. So the biggest thing I learned is actually one of his quotes. It says, "You have to understand how to create value that someone wants to pay for, yet try never to settle for something less than what you know to be what you want and can do and feel passionate about making happen." So if you really think about this, I mean, we all have stuff we're interested in, okay? And I tell my business people out there all the time, find an angle to make noise in your industry. So if I'm in the clinical research industry, I'm also in the real estate industry. My angle is business. I'm a business person first. I'm an entrepreneur first. I'm good at sales. I'm good at building teams. I'm good at branding yourself, promoting yourself. These are my angles. These book reviews that I do is my angle as well. So there's an attorney out there who was tasked with finding more attorneys for his law firm. And he could have done what everyone else did and blog about legal stuff, but what he did, he was very passionate about golf. And what he noticed was that a lot of the people at his country club, the same country club where he played golf at, were passionate about golf as well. And a lot of those people happen to have been attorneys. So he started a golfing blog where he was the golfing attorney. And he got so much business out of this that it'd be very, very hard to make the argument that he would have gotten the same amount of business had he just blogged about law. So that's essentially what this book is about. It's finding your niche. The subtitle is Entrepreneurship for Weirdos, Misfits, and World Dominators. And I'm just going to go through some of the chapters. So it says, business, new and old again. What does this really mean? Am I a freak? Are you? So he calls people who are passionate about things that they love freaks. We're essentially what the book is saying is we're all freaks. We all have something that we're passionate about. And guess what? This is a big world. Your industry is a big industry. And chances are other people feel the same way about those things as you do. Is there some age limit to freaks? What does this have to do with business, which is the huge thing? If you look at the golfing attorney who started blogging about golfing and mentioned that, oh, by the way, I'm also an attorney, he got tons of business out of that, as opposed to should he have just blogged about legal stuff. It would have just gotten lost in the mix. So that's what this book really is about also, is finding a way to monetize what you're passionate about into helping your brand, your business, you get more sales, That's the point of all this. You don't have to wait for permission, so he takes a page out of Seth Godin's mantra of don't ask for permission, just do it. Freaks often find their own distribution paths. That was a good chapter. I thought I actually learned a lot about different ways that I can drive more business for myself. So when doing my own blogs, oftentimes I didn't know what it was I wanted to sell. I knew I wanted to promote myself. I knew I wanted to promote my services, but I didn't know the different angles I can take to get more business for myself. Well, after a while, if you start paying attention to the demand from your own audience, they'll tell you what they want, and then you start building products or services or just more content around what they want and find a way to monetize that. And then there's all kinds of chapters about it. Chapter 3 is choose your own adventure, defining success. Chapter 4, skill building for your business goals. Chapter 5, fall in love with not knowing. Chapter 6, structure a framework for your days. Chapter 7, are you an employeepreneur? So this also is good for people who are employees out there, who maybe they don't want to be entrepreneurs themselves, but they still have that passion and they want to separate themselves from the pack or from the herd. Create systems that work, one of my favorite chapters. Are you a solo or small business owner? Chapter 10 is fall in love with not knowing, again. Chapter 11, worshiping obstacles and challenges. Chapter 12, build your own media empire. And that chapter right there, the reason why this book would have been so helpful for me back in 2005 is if I would have read this chapter alone, build your own media empire, I would have understood the importance of getting on YouTube and doing these blogs for not only clinical research but real estate and business. I probably would have done that back then in 2005, even though YouTube wasn't out back then. I would have been blogging, I would have been more involved, putting more content out there and building my own media empire instead of kind of figuring it out myself in 2010. So I would have been much more ahead of it had I read this book back then. So chapter 12 really pays for the entire book. Chapter 13, connect with your freaks. Chapter 14, own everything. Chapter 15 talks about what to do when things go wrong. And then chapter 16 is kind of the conclusion. So all in all, I mean, every book is really, I guess, boils down to how it helps you. And you can take something from this. Anyone could take something from this book, whether you're an experienced entrepreneur or someone who wants to become an entrepreneur. There's very likely something in here for everyone. I think it will provide the most value to people who are on the fence about becoming an entrepreneur. Maybe they've always felt like they need to be doing something for themselves, but they just don't know where to get started. So chapter 12, create your own media empire, is like my thesis for my business. Let me read you a quote from that one. Success comes to those who help others far more often than they ask for help with themselves. So one of the things I learned in doing my Clinical Trials Guru blog is putting the content out there. And just finding different ways to provide value for my customers, finding different ways to help them out. Eventually, you get paid back in abundance multiple times. So that chapter 12 really would have been helpful for me. As an established entrepreneur, this was more of a confirmation that what I'm doing is the right path, according to Chris Brogan and according to myself as well. So it's hard not to agree with him on a lot of these things, but I think there's definitely much more value in this book for those entrepreneurs who are either not yet entrepreneurs, but they're entrepreneurs inside and they want to become entrepreneurs, or for entrepreneurs who are looking for different ways to promote themselves and to build their brands. All in all, I give this book a 6 out of 10, okay, because now had I read this in 2005, it'd probably be a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, but since I already knew a lot of these things, I give it a 6 out of 10. Read it for yourself. It's a quick read, and you'll still find something out of it, even if you're an established entrepreneur. Hopefully this book review helps. Let me know what other books you'd like me to read, and let me know if you read this book and what you thought about it. dansfera.com and sferarealestate.com. Take care.